What's up, Bears fans? Another edition of Bears Over Beers, powered by Second City Gridiron, coming at you one day early this week. We kind of changed our plans today, Brian. It's Ryan Drosty and Brian Orenchuk. It's the holiday season, so happy holidays, Merry Christmas to everyone out there. We're coming at you the day before Christmas Eve, which is of course Wednesday, our usual broadcasting night. But Mac and Reed were not able to go tonight. So we decided to bump up our live show one day. We had been planning on kind of like pre-recording this and putting it out on delay throughout the holidays, so you could listen to it while you're wrapping gifts or whatever. But instead, we're here live on Tuesday night. How you doing, Brian?
Doing great, man. Still best time of the week. Obviously, no work this week, but getting to chill, hang out with you, have a beer, talk Bears football. It doesn't really matter what day of the week it is. When I get to do that, it's a treat. So happy holidays to you and yours as well, and everybody tuning in. And let us know what you're drinking. That's one of the best things about this live deal is we get some interaction. So here we are, and let's get to it, man. I know I'm excited about my beer. What about you?
I am. My first question for you, though, before I get to the beer, because I didn't go this route tonight. I thought about it. Are you an eggnog guy?
No, I'm not. But I'm like open to it. It's kind of like sour beers. I've just never really fallen in love with one yet. But I'm open to it. But what do you got? Is it an eggnog beer, or are you just asking?
I'm just asking because once in a while, I'll get some eggnog, pour some bourbon into it or whatever. Mm-hmm. Some Fireball. Fireball's pretty good in eggnog.
Okay.
I did not go that route tonight, though. I went with a Chicago area beer, which I don't think I've drank this one on the podcast. This is one that it used to only be sold in the Chicago area. And we do have a guest with us. I'll bring him on here in just a second. So this one is now sold in my hometown, which I live in Eastern Iowa, about 4 hours from Chicago. And I was stunned not too long ago when I went into the liquor store and they had Pipeworks Ninja versus Unicorn.
Oh, nice.
Have I drank this one on the show before, Brian?
No, I've not seen that one. That's a cool one. It's a cool design.
Yeah, it's a solid beer. Pipeworks makes great stuff. And I was thinking, Brian, you're really good at theming your beers with the game that's upcoming. So I was like, how can I tie in Ninja versus Unicorn? And, I know they had a down year last year, but for the most part in recent years, maybe you can look at the 49ers as one of those ninja teams in the NFC that's always in contention. Great head coach, great offense. Add McCaffrey to the mix, of course.
Oh, yeah.
And then the Bears this year, they're kind of that unicorn team. People are wondering, are we real? Are we for real or not? Now people are starting to warm up to the bandwagon a little bit. So I thought Ninja versus Unicorn was a good one. It's a double India Pale Ale, a double IPA, which you guys know I love IPAs. And so, yeah, I'm going to be feeling pretty good from this one. This is a solid one. So I'm excited about drinking that. I'm also excited about the guest we have joining us tonight. I'm going to bring him on right now. So from Mac and Reed, Ross Reed is with us. Ross, how you doing tonight?
Gentlemen, how are you guys doing tonight?
Good. Did you bring a drink?
Tis the season. This is a Great Lakes Christmas ale.
Okay.
There are very few things that I like from Cleveland, and this happens to be one of them. So cheers. They even got the special glass with it. I get to break out this time of year.
Yeah.
Nice. Yep. Very nice.
What
do you got, Brian?
So I'm really excited about this one. I had never tried it before, Ross. And I'm a seasonal drinker. So typically lighter beers, more hoppy in the summer, springtime, and I just kind of flow with the seasons. And wintertime, I got a stout. This is a maple breakfast coffee stout, 10W40. This is a thick glass of lactose and vanilla and coffee flavors, thick and dark, delicious. I actually popped it open for the game the other night. I got a 4-pack, and I was extremely impressed and excited to drink it with you guys tonight. Ross, man, I'm excited you could join us. I know usually you're on Tuesday nights, but it's about time we've had a shared a drink with you, man. Cheers.
Heck yeah.
Thanks, guys. I'm excited to be here. My co-host Evan went to the game on Saturday and threw his voice out, so he is on the IR right now, and hopefully he'll bounce back. That beer right there looks like it'll be perfect with just like a big plate of bacon. Like just,
man.
Just dip the bacon in there and go to town on that. I love it.
Oh, man.
I had to show that full screen again. It's dark. Nice.
Dark.
Look at that.
with the pint glass. Oh man, so tasty. So cheers to everybody watching. Cheers to you guys.
Oh yeah.
Cheers, fellas.
Cheers.
Ah. Oh, that's good.
Oh yeah. So I mean, obviously, probably listeners on our network know Ross from Mac and Reed, but Ross, I got to say, you're one of my favorite follows on Twitter. Rarely does a day go by that I don't like a Ross Reed tweet. So really excited about this. Always dragging people on social media.
yes. Hey, listen, tis the season. It's nice to be dragging people on Twitter these days as opposed to being the ones that get dragged. So yeah, I'm happy to. I've been pulling some receipts the last couple of weeks. It seems like our quarterback Caleb Williams has as well, and it's fun, man. I'm 44 years old, so I've seen some good seasons. I've seen a lot of bad seasons. So it's awesome to finally be talking about a very fun, exciting Bears team, and hopefully, they can get healthy here in the next couple of weeks. Most importantly, now that they've already clinched a playoff berth, and hopefully they can make some noise in the playoffs. I think anytime you get into the tournament, and it becomes anybody's ballgame. This season. It's about as wide open as you can get. There's no consensus favorite in either conference, in my opinion. So it comes down to execution and getting healthy. And I really do hope selfishly that they can stay in Chicago and Soldier Field for some of these home games in the playoffs, because I think that they play well to the crowd and to the elements as well.
Absolutely. I wanted to share what you were referring to there for our podcast and listeners with Caleb possibly pulling the receipts. So here we see it. Ross, you tweeted this out earlier. Do we think Caleb Williams is this kind of receipt puller? Because this would be Michael Jordan inviting the dude who got cut over him to the Hall of Fame ceremony levels of petty. Because if you guys didn't see, Caleb actually, he gave a bunch of presents to his O-lineman, and one of them was this bottled Don Julio, if I'm not mistaken.
1942, absolutely. I know that bottle very well.
And this Lions fan had said back in January that he was going to crack open that bottle. What did he say when Ben Johnson got fired?
Yes. He called him Benedict Johnson, of course, as a play on Benedict Arnold. Very, very clever.
Yeah. That's incredible. I would not be surprised at all if that is where Caleb got the idea. He loves pulling receipts, as we've seen.
He does. He loves pulling receipts. He does it a lot on TikTok. That guy kind of went viral again on Sunday as that post resurfaced. So I wouldn't be surprised if Caleb was sitting down on Sunday, and in addition to the $20,000 per bag he spent from Bottega for the offensive lineman, he sprinkled in a $170 bottle of 1942 just to troll a little bit.
Yeah, back when Twitter likes were public, I'd always go to his page and see what he had been liking, because he would always like stuff that was negative about him, to motivate him or to drag later, and it was really, really interesting. So I would not put it past him at all. I think that's a great call by you.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, obviously we are coming off our high. I'm still on the high with the victory over Green Bay. I mean, I told my wife the next morning, I'm like, that might be my second favorite Bears game of all time, of my lifetime. We're all pretty close in age. I'm about to be 42. Mm-hmm. And I think the only one above it would be when they beat the Saints in the NFC title game, to be honest with you. I mean, it might be hyperbole. I don't know, but it's just the way it happened, where you're already mentally preparing for losing that game and like what that's going to do to our playoff chances and what we're going to have to do in the next two. The fact that it's Green Bay, and then what happened and the way it happened and the throw, and oh my God. I mean, I have just been getting on social media this week has been so enjoyable, so very enjoyable, but just every day, like you're saying, Ross, people pulling those receipts, and it means so much to where this team is. Obviously now we have a really good shot to clinch the division. It's not automatic. We still got to do some things. But man, feeling pretty good going into this game in San Francisco. Ross, I'll give you the floor first. I mean, where does this rank in your fandom as a Bears fan?
I mean, yeah, it's up there, right? I mean, you go back to, I'm thinking, you talked about the Saints game to send them to the Super Bowl. I remember Reggie Bush kind of waving goodbye to Brian Urlacher as he scored the touchdown there, and the Bears were able to come back. I was at the Sunday night football game when they beat the Rams, the season of the double doink. That was freezing cold that night. Yeah, absolutely. That was a Santa sleigh when Nagy ran that play. I think that a very electric Soldier Field crowd as well.
yeah.
But this has to be up there. I mean, anytime you can beat the Packers, you could beat them at home on a Saturday night like that. I mean, that building was absolutely rocking. I live about a mile away from the stadium, and the whole day, everybody was just like, it was just buzzed and juiced up, and people were just out and about and ready. And it's like, yes, that's exactly what you want. It's the holidays, it's December, you get playoff style caliber of football. And it's like, this fan base right now is just clamoring for that. And so to kind of see it come to fruition is really cool, man. You have to give a lot of credit to Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams and the entire team and how they've been able to just do a complete 180. If you think about where we were at the same time last year,
Right.
And the mess that we were in, and we weren't even thinking that we can even get a guy like Ben Johnson, right? We were talking about, is it going to be Mike McCarthy, or is it going to be Pete Carroll, or some of these other guys? So the fact that we're here right now is just, we are definitely just spoiled and happy and excited about, regardless of what happens this year. I think the future is also going to be just very bright going forward with this franchise.
Yeah.
What about you, Brian?
Yeah, no, it's interesting because, you come into this season with I'm going to say low expectations, reasonable expectations. And at some point, they like you said, with the NFC being kind of wide open, with the way that we've been able to change the narrative about, who we've competed against and who have we beaten the good teams. And obviously Green Bay being a huge part of that because they've been, monkey on our backs for quite a while now. But I'm at this point where like anything can happen. And I believe in Ben, I believe in the staff, and we got guys coming back healthy. And I'm just excited because the biggest thing that I noticed in that Green Bay game from the opening kickoff was how charged up that atmosphere was. That was a playoff atmosphere game from the jump. Mm-hmm. And I think you're going to see that in San Francisco, in Detroit. So we're going to have a great practice run of playoff caliber games leading up to the playoffs. So we're going to be battle tested. We already have the most comeback victories in a season with Caleb. First time anybody's done that under the age of 25 since Peyton Manning. Like, there's some big things happening right now. People are looking at our defensive EPA and all this other stuff, and rightfully so. But our run D has stepped up. Our guys are still taking the ball away. We just got Tremaine back. We're hopefully going to get Kyler back. We didn't even have two of our best receivers last week. Hopefully they start coming back. So it's just it's fascinating, man, because, we talk about that big game with Vic Fangio and Jared Goff, cracking the code of how to beat McVay back then. That's like the last time we've been competitive. Mm-hmm. And it's damn near 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And so it's exciting. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm kind of nervous about this week, if I'm being honest. This is a big game. And San Fran's looking good. Yeah. We got some injuries still. They match up really well against us. It's going to be interesting, and I'm looking forward to it. But golly, man, cheers for being a Bears fan, being alive right now and experiencing this, because this is what it's all about.
Yeah. I mean, finally, Brian and I kind of became the part-time host of the show last year, and we were so jacked for it. And then the way that season went, we were like, God, what did we sign up for?
Yeah.
This is like, this show is depressing to do. And this year has been so much more fun. I mean, you said it, the way the schedule lined up, all the talk about the Bears having such an easy schedule. They haven't beaten anybody, but, it allowed us to build confidence. It allowed us to build that momentum. So now we go into these last few, like you said, it's going to be playoff atmosphere almost every week. The Lions probably are going to be done, but maybe not. Maybe they're going to be playing for something in the final game. We don't know. And, either way, they're going to want to get revenge on Ben again. So It's going to be a charged environment.
Oh, for sure.
So, yeah, two gigantic games. I mean, this game against San Fran, stakes are high. Number 1 seed is there for both teams still. A lot on the line. I'm excited about the fact that it's going to be nice weather, and we can actually see the Bears light it up from the passing game perspective, possibly. And you mentioned the people coming back from injuries, Brian. I think Ben Johnson mentioned his interview the other day, might have been yesterday. He brought up Kyler and said, like they hope to get him back. And then I think the media followed up like, oh, is he actually going to be coming back? We'll have to see. but it kind of opened the door. Maybe Kyler will be back,
Mm-hmm.
for the playoffs, because I know some of us were wondering if he'd return this year at all. And so we're getting the defenders back at the right time. Tremaine hasn't been himself yet. He was I would say arguably our most consistent player on the defense before his injury. He was having like a Pro Bowl caliber year. And we can talk about the Pro Bowl selections here in just a second. But I mean, yeah, he's got to work back from that. Obviously, Jalen's still working back too, but we got some time. This defense is getting healthy. Montez has been better. I was worried the first half of the game on Saturday because we needed a pass rush and he seemed to not be doing anything. But then he came alive pretty much right after I tweeted about him. He started contributing and he made me look like a fool, and I'm glad he did. But, he ended up showing up too. So, man, yeah, it's just one of those things where we've been cautious every single week on this show talking about, we hope to make the playoffs. We hope to get that experience, sign an edge rusher in the offseason, make a trade, whatever, and then really become a contender. There's no reason the Bears can't win the NFC this year based on what we've seen. I mean, it is right there for them, and that is super exciting. And so, yeah, really, really looking forward to this game in San Francisco. Do you have something you were going to say, Brian?
Yeah, I think you talk about Tremaine. He obviously just came back from injury. This is the first time, I believe, all year we've had a guy go on his IR stint and come back the first game he was eligible. And just having his experience in there was huge. And he came away with a fumble recovery. Right? He wasn't quite his dominant self, and absolutely he deserved to be a Pro Bowler, man. He was having an all-pro. His stats are still Pro Bowl level with him missing those games. So that pissed me off about him not getting that vote because he absolutely deserved it. But either way, him getting back, him being healthy, having him in coverage, him with TJ, who does look healthy and back with it to offset CMC in the passing game is going to be really huge this week. But yeah, I think the concern I have this week is CJ Gardner-Johnson, to be honest with you, because we're already down Kyler. If we're missing CJ now from the slot with the attitude he brings, the run support he brings, and nickel packages, I'm a little bit concerned about that one. I'm hoping that they try Tyreek Stevenson there, just because I love his physicality. He can play man really well. Line up against Kittle, especially this week, and some other guys. He's a little bit bigger, but I'm sure they're going to go Nick McLeod. Ben likes McLeod. He's been decent in the slot there, but that makes me a little bit nervous. But like you said, they're rolling. I think Brock threw like 5 touchdowns the other night.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see how they play these last 2 games, because you obviously you want to win and you still have a chance to get the 1 seed, but also you want to play it safe a little bit with some of these guys,
right? Not rushing back.
Yeah, some of these soft tissue injuries and things like that, and kind of ease them back in and get them ready for the playoffs. So it's the good news. Knock on wood. It doesn't sound like CJ has a serious issue. He could play this weekend. He might sit out a week. Might sit out 2 weeks. Sounds like Kyler Gordon can be back at the start of the playoffs and coming off of IR. I think Jalen Johnson is slowly getting himself back into game shape. I thought that he was a little bit rusty and atrophied a little bit when he came back from his injury as well. And then obviously the 2 big wild cards are in the passing game with Roman Dunze and Luther Burden. And those are 2 guys that you certainly don't want to rush back because they play such an explosive position. And those guys are very explosive on the football field. You want to make sure that they are completely healthy as well. It does help that you go into San Francisco where it's a little bit warmer. I think the biggest issue with Roman Dunze is, he's got a stress fracture in his foot. That doesn't feel good. Then you step out to Soldier Field and it feels like a rock out there, frozen solid. And that certainly doesn't feel good on your foot. So, it may be the turf, coming into this weekend, but I think they're going to play it very cautious. I think Ben feels comfortable in knowing that the Bears can play in any environment. And even if they play on a wild card weekend, he just wants his guys healthy and be able to go out there. So it's going to be a chess match between both teams this weekend, because also Kittle got banged up yesterday too. And he left the game with an ankle injury, and we're going to see how he plays them. Christian McCaffrey has had a lot of miles on him this season too. And so we're going to see, how many touches that he gets, this weekend. Brock Purdy also has been in and out of injury and stuff like that. So it's going to be interesting to see how both coaching staffs play it on Sunday night. But either way, you get Sunday Night Football in the Bay against two iconic franchises, two awesome quarterbacks, two awesome play callers. And it's going to be exciting. And so I hope the Bears are up to the challenge. I do agree. I think they need to get back to consistently running the football, especially against this 49ers team, and kind of wear them out a little bit, and then allow Caleb to do what he does in the play action and take his shots downfield. And I think it's a big Colson Loveland game too. The throws were there yesterday for the Colts. You just had a guy that was as old as me and as tired as me at this point throwing the football. He didn't have the oomph to put in it, but there is some deep shot capability against this 49ers defense that I think Ben Johnson can take advantage of with a more younger and athletic Caleb Williams.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I haven't watched a ton of Niners games this year, but in researching them a little bit, kind of what I was finding is that obviously they struggle in coverage, and we saw that last night. I think that from what I was seeing, they don't allow a lot of yards after the catch. Like, they tend to tackle dudes right away, but they allow a lot of catches. They struggle in coverage. Kind of the same thing with the run game. Teams are able to run through that first level on them, but then the second level usually stops the longer runs. So, there's going to be opportunities through the air, no question. We have guys who are good at yard after the catch. Obviously, DJ is one of them. Luther would be a guy if we had him. It kind of sucks what happened to him, man. When he was out there before that injury in that game, it was just like the change of direction he was showing on some of those catches was unbelievable. He's such a weapon for us moving forward. So, man, I hope we can get him back for the stretch run. But yeah, man, their defense isn't that good all around. I have a couple of friends who are huge Niners fans that live out there, and they were texting me, joking around about what should the bet be on the game this week. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not like super confident in this game because we know that the Niners offense can light it up, and we struggle on defense, but I do think that there's going to be opportunities for our offense. So I think it'd be a high scoring game. Like, I would be leaning towards taking the over on the points for sure.
Yeah, the over hit at like halftime yesterday. Take the over.
But they were saying, they're not confident either. These are some of the hardest core Niners fans. One of my buddies does a Niners podcast, actually. And he's like, man, our secondary is so young. Ben and Caleb are going to light them up. So, from a Niners fan perspective, they're not confident either. So it should be a really, really good game. We'll get to our picks later.
It's a microcosm of the entire season to me in the NFL. Like, who today feels confident about their team going to the playoffs as
Packers fans
or prohibitive favorites? They shouldn't.
You didn't ask that.
Wilson Saturday. It's like, you want to talk about the Denver Broncos. They're number one in the AFC right now, and they look terrible on Sunday against the Jacksonville Jaguars, right? And the Patriots had to kind of rally and see Lamar Jackson get hurt before they can come back on Sunday night. The Jaguars look good. They're playing good football right now. You want to talk about the Seattle Seahawks, and they've had their struggles too. Obviously the Bears beat the Eagles already. So there is no consensus favorite to me in the NFL. It feels a lot like the season Brady tore his ACL in week one.
Matt Castle
season. But the Super Bowl that year was a little bit of an outlier. It was, if I remember correctly, it was Steelers Cardinals, if I remember correctly, and everybody was kind of like, the Cardinals made the Super Bowl, and the Steelers, it feels like one of those seasons. It feels like you could wake up, 45 days from now, and you're like, the Bears are playing the Jaguars in the Super Bowl. How the hell did that happen? Or something weird like that.
Awesome.
Get into the playoffs, get healthy, and take it game by game, and let's see if we can make a run.
Yeah, the thing that I'm interested in, and we've talked about this on this podcast throughout the year, there have been so many points in the season where you're like, how are they going to bounce back? Right? Down 0-2, and they bounce back. Got injuries, bounce back. And, big win against the Commanders. How are they going to respond? And it's just a lot of these moments where I'm like, okay, Ben, how's it going to be? And I enter the week a little bit skeptical, but then I'm reminded, like especially with the penalties early in the year, because so often or in the first half of the season we were shooting ourselves in the foot, be it penalties or drop balls. You saw that graphic this week that came out, the most yardage lost from drop passes in the entire season. Caleb Williams is number 1. Trevor Lawrence is number 2 from drop passes from the Bears. And we've had all these different things, injuries, like I mentioned, and Ben just has the guys ready. He just has them ready to play. And when there's a reason, whether it's a short week or this or that, there's a reason for, a fall off in play or focus. And Ben just has them ready. So I'm interested to see, okay, we came off that hugely high win against the Packers. We needed that. So many reasons. Now what? Are we gonna have that lull, against a really strong opponent on the West Coast? How is Ben gonna respond? He's been exceeding my expectations. So I'm looking for our guys to be ready. I'm looking for like a Nahshon Wright, statement game and a Ja'Day Walker, touchdown, 120 yards receiving game. Like that's what I'm looking forward to. And yes, run the ball, get some play action passes, remind everybody who the number 1 rookie tight end is. But Ben in this staff is why I'm confident that anything can happen obviously Caleb, but Ben and this staff is what makes me feel confident that a Sunday night game, a game we don't need to make the playoffs, you just clinched, right? Ben and this staff is why I think we've got a chance. So I'm so excited about that. And like you said, Ross, how are they going to deploy these guys? Are we going to see the depth of Ja'Day Walker or whomever else? Yeah. Or we're going to get some guys back or a Manon guy, Swift, going to step up. Komet I don't know, but it's exciting to see this level of coaching prowess and how are these guys going to bounce back after the Pro Bowl snubs. That's another little interesting, nugget here. We heard Kevin Byard, appreciate his Pro Bowl nod, but, kind of upset that Nahshon didn't get his. There's a few guys. Let's just get into it, Ryan. I mean, Darnell Wright, he deserved that shit. Darnell Wright is one of the best tackles in the game right now, right? And
dude,
who else you got?
I mean, Darnell has almost seemed like a lock all year. I thought, he might get all pro, but as far as the Pro Bowl goes, the Bears had 3. Green Bay, if you're counting, only had 1, Micah Parsons. Minnesota got 0, and the Lions had 5. But the 3 Bears were Joe Thuney, no surprise, Drew Dahlman, center, first-time Pro Bowler, and Kevin Byard, which I think Kevin Byard we expected as well. But Nahshon Wright, Darnell, we expected both of them to make it. Darnell especially. Nahshon, early in the year he was struggling a lot in coverage, but he's getting turnovers, and now he's become a pretty well-rounded corner all around. And even Micah Parsons tweeted about it. The only tweet Micah Parsons has sent today was about how Nahshon Wright got robbed of the Pro Bowl. So I mean, there it is, game recognizing game.
You hope that he'll get there. Probably there's going to be some guys every year that drop out and stuff like that. I think he's the biggest snub for me because his story is so cool. He comes from the Vikings practice squad. He does what he does this year. And I think it's very important to him. I usually don't care much about Pro Bowl nods or anything like that, except for his situation, because it will be so important to his contract negotiations in the offseason. A lot of times, a lot of these guys get paid off of Pro Bowl appearances. A lot of these guys have escalators in their contracts that say you get $500,000 if you get a Pro Bowl appearance or things like that. And so I think it's really important that he hopefully eventually gets in and he can leverage that in the offseason to get paid, because you never know when these guys are going to see a next big, contract or payday or something like that. He certainly deserves it off the season that he had. Obviously, selfishly, we want to keep him in Chicago, but the Bears, when healthy, have a pretty solid secondary. So if he does go on somewhere else, I hope he gets a Brinks truck dropped off in front of his house, because he freaking deserves it for the season that he's had.
Yeah, absolutely. Who else you got? I mean, obviously there's no, who cares about Pro Bowl? You mentioned All Pro. I'd much rather get an All Pro nod than a Pro Bowl nod. I mean, look at Kelsey was the number 1 voted guy. He did not deserve Pro Bowl this year. So I don't care either. But when you have guys that are deserving, Ryan and I have talked off the air this season so far. I'm not about just trying to vote all my team in. The Pro Bowl. I don't care like that. But there are certain guys that stand up, like Ryan said, all year. Darnell Wright has been doing that. Nashawn Wright has been getting those turnovers all year and continuing to round himself into a complete corner, in run support, after the catch, sticky in coverage, Tremaine Edmonds, like we talked about. So I don't care really at the end of the day. I do think, for him and his story, absolutely.
Yeah.
It'd be
I even think a guy like Jonah Jackson doesn't get enough credit for what he's done this year. The back half of the season, he's been absolutely outstanding in the running game, and he kind of gets left out in that interior group because you're sitting next to Dahlman and Tooney. But he's had an outstanding year too, and at some point he gets into the Pro Bowl. It's very well deserving as well for him.
Yeah. No, we could have had 4 offensive linemen in the Pro Bowl this year.
Dude, think about that. Think about where we were a year ago. The Bears with multiple Pro Bowlers on the O-line is just incredible what we were able to do in the offseason. I mean, you got to give Poles the credit.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah. Jonah could be seen as a snub, quite honestly. I mean, he easily could have made it.
Absolutely. Gentlemen, I'm going to jump off. Good to join you guys as always, or for the first time, I should say. Enjoy the rest of your show.
Yeah.
Bear down. I'm going to pound my drink as I get off here and go back to watching. We're watching Christmas episodes right now with our 9-year-old before we put him down to go to sleep.
Nice.
Very
getting ready for the Christmas spirit. I wish you both Merry Christmas as well to you.
You as well. You and your family, Ross. Thanks for joining us, man.
Thanks, guys. Have a great night.
Thanks. Yeah. Brian, I think that's a natural point for us to go to a word from one of our sponsors. And then when we come back, we will be talking a little bit about the San Francisco 49ers. So stay with us here. All right. So look, guys, taking care of your mental health should not be harder than taking care of your physical health. If you pull a muscle, if you go see a doctor, when it comes to finding the right therapist, suddenly it's frustrating. You've got long wait lists or you're staring down huge out-of-pocket costs. That's what usually stops people from getting help. Also just time. If you think about it, if you're looking to go to therapy, I think there's a lot of people out there, especially guys who it pops into their mind, they're going through something difficult. It'd probably be a good idea, but I got to put in all this time to find someone and then find the time in my schedule to do it, run it by the wife, or do I even want to tell the wife? All these things are running through people's minds. And that's where Rula comes in. So Rula makes therapy simple, affordable, and fast. They work with most major insurance plans. The average session copay is just $15, $15. It's basically the cost of lunch. But instead of a sandwich, you're investing in your own headspace, and nothing is more important than that. And with Rula, you're not just matched and left to figure it out. They check in and make sure you're actually making progress. Every therapist on the platform is licensed, they're vetted, they're picked for their expertise. So you're talking to someone legit, not just whoever happens to be available. So getting started couldn't be easier. Answer a few quick questions about what matters to you, and Rula connects you with an in-network provider who actually fits your needs. You pick the time, and you could be talking to a therapist as soon as the next day. No weeks of waiting, no endless back and forth. It's that simple. Bottom line, if you've been putting this off, Rula takes away the excuses, simple, affordable, and actually built to help you get better. So thousands of guys have already used Rula to finally get the care they needed. Don't keep putting it off. Go to rula.com/gridiron and get started today. That's RULA.com/gridiron. Take the first step, get connected, and take control of your mental health. All right, Brian, let's talk about the San Francisco 49ers. I was kind of thinking about, Bears-Niners games in the past. And instantly I think of that game in 2005 and it was so windy. That's kind of a famous one between us and them. And then, of course, there's some big time famous ones in the 80s, the 1988 NFC Championship, the 1984 NFC Championship. I'm going to ask you a personal question about your football fandom, because as I thought about this, I kind of realized, just based on my age, and you and I are the same age, I have kind of a weird relationship with the 49ers, because when the Bears and the Niners were rivals in the mid 80s, I was too young to really understand that. And when I started becoming a football fan and started watching games in the late 80s, the Bears were just kind of coming off of that Super Bowl run. And of course, the great mid 80s teams. I mean, Ditko was still around. Some of the defense was still there, but they weren't what they had been. Meanwhile, the Niners were the dominant team, Montana and Rice. And there was this video game called Tecmo Super Bowl, which a lot of people our age played the hell out of. And when I wasn't the Bears, I was the Niners in that game. And
Okay.
Joe Montana was like one of my first favorite football players. I had a Joe Montana jersey when I was a kid, even though I was a Bears fan, because I didn't understand that they had been rivals, a couple of years before that in some pretty critical games. I just wanted to start off with just kind of a general conversation on your relationship with the Niners over the years. Are they one of those teams that you really can't stand, or was it similar to like how I look back on them, at least during that period?
Yeah, it sounds like it was kind of like how you looked back on them. I never had any animosity. When like you mentioned, they took off in the 90s. They had Steve Young right after Montana, Jerry Rice, obviously, Ricky Waters, Roger Craig before that. Just a bunch of studs, offense and defense, Deion Sanders. And that's when we fell off. The 90s was kind of like the no man's land for Bears. And so we never really had a competitive team where it was, I think we made the playoffs one time and they smoked us in the opening round in the 90s. We talked about that not too long ago. But I don't have that level of animosity towards them like I do the Cowboys, for instance. Which they had similar paths in the 90s of dominance. But I've always respected them. Obviously, been a very successful franchise. And I remember the game in 2005. There was a game in, was it 11 or 12, where I think it was 12, maybe 13. And Brandon Marshall had like 3 touchdown catches. That was big one for me because I played college ball with Brandon. And he dominated that game. I think it was a Sunday night football game as well. So, they're a team that always plays us tough. So it's one of those games that, you kind of cringe a little bit going into it because of that. It just seems like they typically win. But, excuse me, and I am getting over being sick. Was sick last week.
Yeah.
How it is with kids, man. It's like I got one of mine 103 fever right now. It's crazy up in here, but it's nuts. But I I saw a stat today of quarterbacks with turnover worthy or turnover throws, consistency. Caleb is the best, and the worst is JJ McCarthy. But then the second worst is Brock Purdy. So you look at this game, and we already talked about their defense not being that intimidating, not that scary. I think we can move the ball on the ground and in the air against them. But what can our defense do well? We've been playing the run better. Our DBs are, our outside boundary corners and our safeties are great, and they're opportunistic. So if we can get some turnovers, which I think we can, then I think we can win this game. And if we do, how crazy is that going to be? Playing that final week for the 1 seed, bro.
If the Bears win this game, I predict they will be the 1 seed. This game is gigantic for that. I mean, I think if we win in San Francisco against a legitimate top of the conference team like this,
Right.
I think we come home and Detroit's struggling. Look, when we played them in week 2, they weren't struggling. It was early in the season. It wasn't like it, and the Bears were struggling. I think we come home and we take care of business against them. And, I think Seattle loses a game and we move into the 1 seed. But, if we don't win this one, it won't be the end of the world.
Right.
Still a good chance we end up as the 2 seed probably. And, playing Green Bay most likely in the opening round. But man, it would be so cool to get the 1 seed and get that bye week, and if Green Bay wants a shot at us, they gotta win a game first in the playoffs. And that would be great. That would be chef's kiss. That's what I hope happens. But it's gonna be a tough one.
Real quick, let's chat about the cheese for 1 minute, because I'm curious your line of thinking here. And I was a little bit curious to hear Ross's take on this too, since he's about our same age. We've been through 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks in Green Bay. And good supporting casts that seem to always get strong offensive line play and never get holding calls against them. All the things. There is a time when if our season was on the line, I would not have wanted to see Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay play.
Yeah.
Jordy Nelson, there was a time. I am not scared of the Packers.
No.
Not and I would be if they deserved it, because that's what I'm used to.
Mm-hmm.
We have talked about our trauma bond as Bears fans multiple times in this podcast.
Yeah.
I am not afraid of this Green Bay with or without it, Jordan Love. Matter of fact, I'd rather them have Jordan Love than Malik Willis. But
Malik
I'm not
played
afraid.
great in the game. Yeah, I mean, all this talk about, we didn't have Jordan Love. Your quarterback's not the reason you lost the game.
No, he kept you in it. He looked great.
Yeah.
And so I would love to play Green Bay for a third time this season. Get us another win against them in the rivalry, right?
Yeah.
An extra win in the season. Heck yeah. I don't at this point, I don't care about the rivalry. I care about our season and doing well.
Mm-hmm.
And our team, we haven't talked much about that game, but I mentioned the opening kickoff and how intense it was. We owned the line of scrimmage in that game. We gave them the ball back.
Yeah.
Multiple times we extended the drive on stupid, foolish penalties, roughing the passer, whatever. And I think we learned from that, because that was such a playoff atmosphere. I think an Austin Booker will learn to roll off when he's bringing somebody down, or Jaquan Brisker, just temper it down, big guy. I think we'll do that in these games moving forward, but they don't scare me. And I love what, like you talked about in your game ball, and we mentioned afterwards, that first drive we had, the whole game, the complexity, I think your tweet said this, the complexity of the complexion of the game changes if we don't fumble that fourth down conversion. If we convert that score touchdown, all of a sudden it's never been close all game. We run away with that game, that victory.
Yeah. All the reporters that were in the building were saying the same thing. I think Adam Johns tweeted about it that night, that like everything changed. The whole vibe of the building changed. That place was nuts, towels waving everywhere. Yeah. We went right down the field on them, about to score 7. And then it was kind of similar, what we had talked about previously. And, with the Green Bay game where we could have won, but, we threw it on 4th and 1 instead of picking it up with an easy run and then having 4 shots at the end zone. We run that play with the snap to Monungai, which, if they hadn't botched the snap, he would have probably got it. We would have got the first down. But, at the same time, it's just like, God, we were making it too difficult. We were owning the line of scrimmage. Like you said, just hand the ball off and get it. So, after we turned it over on 4th down and didn't come away with 7, everything changed. If the Bears score 7 on that drive, I don't think they ever trail in the game, to be honest with you.
No, I agree.
It would have been a whole different vibe, and all that discussion out there this week on, we won 90+% of the game and you won it at the end.
Right.
I've seen a lot of Bears-Packers games over the years where the Bears controlled it, and we had that, to your point, dreadful thought in our head, and we would give them props in those days that we were scared to play him for this reason.
Right.
Oh my God, Aaron Rodgers is coming off. He's coming back from his injury, and he's going to lead him to victory, and that's what happened. I didn't hear them complaining then that the Bears dominated the whole game, till the end.
They're the most entitled fan base on the history of any sport.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's talking about they beat Caleb Haney in the NFC title game. I will always believe if Cutler didn't get hurt in that game, the Bears win that, and they probably win the Super Bowl that year.
100%. Yeah.
They don't care. They don't care that they beat Caleb Haney, who we found out after that could not play in this league. They don't care. All they care about is they won the Lombardi Trophy.
Right.
So, I mean, no, you don't apologize. Nobody remembers those things. All that matters is win or loss. Yeah, if we have to play them again, I'm not going to say it's like impossible the Packers would win. I mean, it's likely they would. I wouldn't say it's the most likely outcome, but they would have a good chance. I mean, it's basically a toss-up game, maybe a slight advantage of the Bears because they'd be playing at Soldier Field. And if we lost to them in the playoffs, it would suck. But I'd also feel like this is the Bears' first year arriving. They're built to win now. It's fine. We'll come back from this. It wouldn't be the end of the world. That said, I would pick the Bears in that game because the Bears have not played a good game against them this year, and they're effectively 2 plays, counting the 2-point conversion, 2 plays away from having swept the series this year. And 2 plays plus a blocked field goal from winning every game against them the last 2 years. I mean, that's how close this rivalry has been. It's not been dominant one way or the other. And the thing that kills me about it is they just won't give the Bears their props and be like,
Right.
yeah, look, these teams are pretty even. I think the Bears fans this year they've been like, look, these are pretty even games. The rivalry's back. And Green Bay and their talking heads on their podcast. I'm not going to name any names of some of these dopes that are out there who just basically the stuff they say is so dumb they have to be trolling. Like,
Yeah.
come on, just say it is basically a toss-up game and these teams are pretty even. No, all you hear is the Bears aren't as good as you think they are. They're bottom feeders. They're going to regress to nothing and all this. It's just, it kills them to give the Bears any props, and it's just comical at this point.
Yeah. Entitled fan base, man. And I don't even want to spend any more time talking about them, but I just wanted to say I am not scared of that scenario. Oftentimes you get the rival again. Anything can happen in a rivalry. F that. Bring it on. Soldier Field again. Let us dominate in more convincing the first 57 minutes and the last, and last 3 of it, and go from there. But but no. So not scared of Green Bay. I think the Niners are more dangerous, especially without Micah Parsons, without Nick Bosa. Even I think their defense is worse than Green Bay's, but I think their offense is clearly better.
Yeah.
And Kyle Shanahan is one of my favorite coaches in the league. What he's done, he's in contention for Coach of the Year, in my opinion, with what he's done with all those injuries. But it's going to be a contest, and I'm looking forward to Caleb, showing up. And you made a comment earlier about the warm weather. I think it is good for soft tissue injuries. But Caleb, man, Iceman, he don't care how cold it is. He don't care how cold it is.
He don't care. No, he doesn't give an F. He definitely doesn't. He'll do his thing either way. Dude, I think this is a game that Caleb might break 300 yards. Quite honestly, just the way that they struggled in coverage. It's going to be a little bit warmer. I think the Bears, the passing offense has really come on, especially if we get Rome back for this game. I really do think that this is a game where he puts up 300 yards. I feel like it's a toss-up. I mean, I think San Francisco is a 3-point favorite, which is basically what usually is the home bump for the home team. So the Vegas is seeing this as an even matchup. I'm pretty worried about our defense against their offense. Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of respect for Shanahan too. And to the point we were making earlier about the relationship with the Niners and rivals or not, how we felt about them. We've been in these situations where we're cheering for him in recent years too, when they were sending Green Bay home in the playoffs and cheering for Robbie.
Good point.
It's been this weird Bears-Niners relationship. But yeah, man, I mean, if our run defense can continue to step up, McCaffrey's having an awesome year. He's already over 1,000 yards on the ground. He's probably going to get 1,000 yards receiving as well. But if they can contain that at all, and we've seen the Bears contain some good rushing attacks this year. Got TJ out there, again, our best linebacker against the run. That's going to certainly help. It would help if we had Kyler. God, sure hope we got CJ out there. Might not. We'll see what happens. But yeah, that's where my concern lays. I think the Bears can put up points. It could get into a shootout. I would get concerned if we go down early. Like if we go down by a couple of scores, I'm not going to have the faith that we can get the stops to come back. So if we go down by like multiple scores, this is going to be a rough one. But I do think that we will put up points. And yeah, like I said, I would hammer the over all day on this one for sure. It's going to be a great game.
Yeah, I think too. I'm going 34-30 Chicago. For my score prediction. And I actually think that's too high. I think we're going to beat him by more than that. But CMC has not been running efficiently. His yards per carry, I haven't looked at his stats, but they've got to be close to his career low this season. His yards per carry. His receiving yards are insane. He's still supremely effective in the air. But and our weakness without our linebackers is our run D. But with our starting linebackers, TJ and Tremaine, our pass coverage against running backs is a lot better. And so I expect a Tremaine, a big game from Tremaine, another week back, and TJ for that matter. So Kittle scares me. Purdy's an effective, quarterback, but he turns the ball over. And so, I'm expecting a couple turnovers, and I think we come away with this win. But yeah, CMC is definitely a threat for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, he's at 3.7 yards per carry, which is tied for the worst of his career with his rookie year back in
Yeah, there you go.
2017.
There you
He had
go.
1 year in 2020 was 3.8 per carry. But I mean, usually he's over 4. He's had a couple of years over 5 as well. So yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, high volume to get those yards, as you
Oh,
were
yeah.
saying. And yeah, he's at 849 yards receiving this year too.
It's crazy.
9.2 yards per reception is the average there. So yeah, I mean, Kittle, he's got the lower grade sprain, I believe. So, you know, he could play. He's questionable right now. But yeah, that dude is so versatile. I don't think I've ever told you this. I mean, I don't know him, but he went to my high school for 1 year, my alma
Oh,
mater.
cool. Nice.
Yeah.
You
So
didn't
he
tell me
lived here where I live now for like 1 year and is moving around with his dad being a football coach. And yeah, he was here in Cedar Falls for 1 year. He's also a huge wrestling fan. I tried to connect with him years ago. I'm like, dude, you're a wrestling fan. You went to my high school. You need to come on the pod, Top Rope Nation. I was never able to connect with him, but he's a super cool guy.
Yeah.
Obviously Hawkeye and all that. You know, I really like him a lot. I'm scared of him in this game because he could do some serious damage. And he was their leading receiver last night. So yeah, he's dangerous. We'll have to follow his injury. That's going to make an impact on the game, no question about it. But yeah, I'll go with Bear. I mean, I can't pick against the Bears right now. There's just no way. Just the way that they've been winning. I'm not going to pick against them.
Yeah.
I'll say I'm going to say 38-31 Bears. 38-31. Yeah. We'll go with that. So you said 4-point spread. I'll go with a touchdown.
Yeah.
It'll be fun, man. It's going to be I'm really looking forward to watching this one.
Well, and like we talked about earlier, if we could visit one game on the entire schedule, what game would it be? This is our choice.
Yeah.
This is our choice. Hey, I didn't even tell you this. My brother-in-law does not have any kids. Shout out to Stephen and Cindy. They actually offered for Christmas to get me tickets to the game, and I could stay with them in an Airbnb. All I had to do was get the flight. And this is during Thanksgiving when we saw him. And I told my wife, and she laughed at me because there's no way I can leave, right after Christmas with all our 4 kids with her for a couple nights to go see some football game. There's no way that's happening. So,
oh man,
I'll be watching.
Those ticket prices have skyrocketed since then. My buddies that live out there that I was talking about earlier in the show, one of them messaged earlier today. I'm just gonna pull up the screenshot. He said he was thinking about getting his dad tickets for the game, him and his dad to go. And then he was like, well, looks like we'll be watching from the comfort of our own homes now. And like the cheapest tickets were, this is upper deck, $430, something like that. It's like, well, I mean, when the Bears fans travel good always, and when they're good, then it's really going to shoot up those prices. And yeah, man, they're really high right now. So if you're going, we'd love to hear from you. We've said this before. Tweet us a picture at the game with the Bears Over Beer shirt or hoodie or sign. We'll send you something for free. But and I also still have the deal going on where if you tweet a picture of yourself. And it can be Twitter, it can be Instagram, it can be Blue Sky, Threads, wherever you are. But if you contact us and you put out a picture of yourself listening to the show, I'll send you one of those stickers in the mail. I got another batch I got to send here, Brian. I'll be getting out right after Christmas because we've had a few more come in, people taking advantage of this. I've sent some overseas even to people. So these Bears Over Beers stickers are going around. We're worldwide. They're going around the globe, Brian.
Love it. Yeah, I've got some. My daughter stole one from me. So yeah, they're awesome. They're nice stickers.
Heck yeah. Nice. So yeah, and if you want any of that merch that I mentioned, you can find the link here in the broadcast description. Shirts, the glass, we got the rocks glass, all that cool stuff. Just another way to support the pod. And while you're here on YouTube or you're listening on the podcast feeds, make sure to subscribe, hit like, leave a written review, 5-star rating on the podcast feeds. That helps out everybody here on our network. Check out all the other great shows. We had Ross Reed on again. I want to thank him. He was fantastic as always. Check out Mac and Reed. They always do a great job on Tuesday nights. So honored to step into their slot tonight, one night early, so we can enjoy Christmas Eve with our families tomorrow night. And I really hope that, if you couldn't join us live, maybe we gave you something to listen to while you wrap presents and kept you company in the holidays. And look at this. Brian's putting on the Bears Santa hat. Love to see it.
Yes. Merry Christmas to all. Ho, ho, ho. Hallis, hallis, hallis.
Love it. All right, everybody. That's going to wrap us up for this week. So we appreciate the support. We'll be talking to you all again next week. Merry Christmas and happy holidays. Take care and bear down.